it's a fantastic opportunity for builders to get out of their building company and kind of look at things from a different perspective, from a higher level. And I think it's just good to get away from your business and do some real thinking.
Welcome to Professional Builders Secrets, the podcast for building company owners wanting to grow safely and securely. I'm your host, Will Blunt, and today I'm joined by one of the co-founders of the Association of Professional Builders, Russ Stevens. Russ, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Will. Good to be here.
Always love having a chat to you, even though we just spent the week together in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I think I was just listening to a podcast episode this morning and I said, I think I'm spending more time with you than my wife. And I think it's actually true.
That's right. We spent a bit of time with Linda while we were also in Las Vegas too, so that was nice. Yeah, but that's why we're having a chat today, because we attended the International Builders Show in Las Vegas recently, and we wanted to do a bit of a recap just to share some of the insights we took from the show and what we took out of it. So what is the International Builders Show, Russ?
Well, it's the biggest show for residential builders in the English-speaking world. There's nothing like it in Australia, in New Zealand, or even Canada. So it's very unique, and basically it's where the residential construction industry goes to meet and to network every year. So you get builders, owners of building companies, you get their project managers there, you get suppliers, you got all kinds of service providers there, and educational people as well. It's literally they got everything, and it's all organised by the NAHB, the National Association of Home Builders, which is by far the largest association in the United States, or probably in North America. But yeah, it's a fantastic show, and highly recommend, if you haven't been there before, to actually put it on your calendar for next year and attend.
I must admit, it was my first time attending, and you and everyone else had said, how big the show was, how much there was to take in, but it really blew me away at everything that was there.
Nothing can prepare you for the size, can you? I mean, just the size of Vegas, is one thing, but the size of this show is just incredible.
So why do builders take time out of their busy schedules to go to the show?
Well, I mean, it is a big commitment for builders who are notoriously time poor. So yeah, it's a good question. What on earth, justifies taking time out their business to go and spend, time at this show? And it is a 3-day show. You don't have to spend 3 days there, but it's a big commitment of time, even if you only go for a couple of days with the travel. But the reason builders do it is because the show is packed with educational sessions. There are exhibitors there. I'm not sure exactly how many exhibitors. I'm not sure if you recall, Will, but there's absolutely tons of exhibitors there. Yeah. And there's new products. So, if you want to be on top of your game and see what's new, materials, different services, and things like AI now, coming to our attention at this show. And of course, apart from the education and the suppliers, there's the networking opportunity with, people in the industry, but also other builders as well. So yeah, it's just, it's a fantastic opportunity for builders to get out of their building company and kind of look at things from a different perspective, from a higher level. And I think it's just good to get away from your business and do some real thinking.
Some builders showed up, from what I understand, exclusively to get the deals that the exhibitors were offering at the show.
Yeah, we hear that a lot with established exhibitors, people like Builder Trend. Builders will fly in just to go to the Builder Trend stand and go and get the deal, for instance. So we've been hearing that a lot over the years. Hopefully, we'll have builders flying in specially to sign up with APB in future years.
Well, we did see it. Like, we would have conversations on day one, and with the show offer we had available, people would come back because they wanted to make sure they could get that before they left. So
yeah, I mean, it is a strict show only offer, same as all the other companies do there. And some people might be skeptical, might think, well, it's just a marketing ploy, but I mean, it is a genuine offer, because when you've got that volume of people coming through in a short amount of time. That's why you can afford to throw a little bit, something a little bit extra special at the offer for people who are there, because the sheer numbers, make it worthwhile. But these deals, these show only deals, they do only, they're only made available for people that attend.
This is the second year that we exhibited at IBS. What makes us want to exhibit at this massive show with so many other people?
Well, it's a fantastic opportunity, I think, first and foremost, to meet our members in North America, because builders fly in from all over the USA, quite a lot of builders from Canada. Of course, this year we had quite a few builders flying in from Australia as well, because of the rugby going on at the weekend after the show. So I think there was something like 40,000 Aussies, I think you told me, Will, had flown in for that. So obviously they weren't all builders, but there was quite a few builders floating around at the show that maybe wouldn't have otherwise been there. So it's a great opportunity for us to meet our existing members. But of course, with the attendee count over 65,000, I think it was, it's a great opportunity for us to meet prospective clients as well, and talk to them about what APB does and how they can utilize our systems and processes to streamline their building company. So, that's probably one of the main reasons. But other reasons are it's where our rewards partners hang out. So, we've been able to expand our rewards directory by meeting these partners at IBS. We did it last year. We met prospective partners this year. So, same kind of thing. You're meeting established relationships, but opening up new opportunities as well. And of course, I think another massive benefit, and this is maybe even the number one benefit, we get to meet and spend some quality time with our North American team. So our guys based in Canada and the USA, obviously all our member success coaches come along. This year we also had Rick, who's an executive coach in Canada. He flew down as well. So it's great to hang out with those guys. And we obviously hang out of an evening as well, spend some time going out for meals. So it's great to get to know people that you've only seen on a screen before or for the past year. And I guess the final reason that we go is because we get to contribute to the education sessions that the NAHB run as well. And I think from memory, I think it was something like 250, I might be wrong here, but about 250 educational sessions that actually run over the 3 days. And these cover all sorts of topics. This year we did a presentation on managing client expectations, for instance, but it covers marketing, covers sales, AI, and of course there's all like building educational sessions as well. So a lot of builders go and hang out for those sessions, which are very, very good.
A number of the builders I spoke to, they had planned all the educational sessions out in the IBS app, and then we're coming to the exhibition in between the sessions. Like, that was the main reason they were there.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point, Will. Actually, the IBS app is a fantastic app that you can download on your phone. It will show you a map of all the exhibitors. It's got all the speaking times on there as well. So that really allows, because you think 3 days, you think, wow, that's plenty of time, but it flies past. It absolutely flies. And if, it flies by for us as exhibitors, but the builders I spoke to as well, since the show, they say, I'm going to be better organized next year because the time just went. I didn't get to do all the things I wanted to do. So, you got to plan it out with military precision. You got to know where you're going to go, what day, what time. And like you say, get those educational sessions all planned in as well.
Yeah, I was speaking to one of our members that was at the booth actually, and that was their second time coming to the show. The first time they felt overwhelmed. There was too much going on. They felt like they didn't get a lot out of it. This time around, they were very deliberate about which exhibitors they'd go and see, which sessions they'd go and learn from. And we're getting a lot more out of the show because of it.
Yeah, this was my third year at the at IBS. And I think it's the first time now that I've actually got my head around Vegas as well, in terms of like the sheer size of it. It just is so confusing. But I feel like I've finally got my bearings as to the layout of Vegas. But Interestingly, this was the year that I didn't attempt to do too much in terms of going to different halls and try to do too much. I set my sights, pretty low, which was just to do one component of the West Hall where we were located. And we were in the consultation and software. So there was a lot of software companies like Build Tools and Builder Trend around us, and consultants, etc. And I just focused on getting around that. But even that, I was struggling. I think I got to the last stand on day 3, about 4:00.
Yeah. Well, I've been to Vegas 6 or 7 times, Russ, and I still don't have my head around it. So maybe next year.
You got to get a high hotel room, like looking down the strip, and you can start to piece it all together.
Yeah. For builders that came to our booth, what was the experience like for them? What were we trying to create for builders and provide?
Well, we had educational presentations running for the entire 3 days. They were delivered by our fantastic coaches. We had Andy Scarder, our head coach, flew out from Australia to be there delivering presentations, along with executive coach, one of our executive coaches in Canada, Rick, that I mentioned earlier. So those guys were delivering presentations on pricing for profit, where we explained to builders the pricing strategy that we coach our builders on, which is not the traditional method that most builders use, which is to add a markup to the cost of sales. I mean, that is when you hope to make a net profit. We actually teach a methodology which guarantees a net profit. So Andy and Rick were going through that. They also went through the documented sales process, which we teach to all our builders as well, and also the qualifying process, which falls into 2 components. You have the disqualification half, and then you have the discovery half. But very, very important process so that you don't end up dealing with time wasters. So they were running those presentations non-stop for 3 days, just giving away some great, valuable information to builders at IBS.
Yeah, I remember one of the sessions, because we promoted those sessions in the IBS daily exhibitor emails as well. And I remember on day 1, the pricing for profit session, one of the pricing for profit sessions, all the seats had filled up, and there were people standing behind them having a chat. Then the MSCs, our member success coaches, were chatting to members as well. And the whole place was just buzzing. Plus there were so many people walking by and everything. Like, it just had a really great atmosphere about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, it wasn't just presentations running on our stand. We were giving away free resources as well. We've got the State of the Residential Construction Industry report, which is being released. Well, by the time you hear this, it would have been released.
Yep.
So we were taking advanced orders on that. It's a PDF that we give away free of charge. So yeah, builders were lining up to get their copy of the latest industry report there. There were other resources as well that we were giving away, which actually helps builders with running their company. And of course, we had an exclusive members area this year. So this was something new we did, where the members could come and just sit down and meet the MSC that looks after them throughout the year, or in the case of coaching, if they were being coached by either Rick or Andy, they were able to sit down and have a chat with those guys. And of course, if they were members and they were thinking of going into coaching, it was a great opportunity to meet Rick and naturally see if they were going to be a good fit. So yeah, we saw quite a lot of guys taking up that opportunity to have a good, frank, open chat with Rick about where they wanted to take their building company and how Rick was going to help them do that. So that was good to see. And there were lots of one-on-one meetings going on, and of course in the members area as well, we had a free prize draw, which we did this last year for our retreat in Hawaii. And I remember the building company that won it. They were absolutely stoked when their name come out the hat, and it was great to see them in Hawaii. And they loved it so much they've booked into Fiji this year. And of course, we did the same thing. We ran a raffle for the members that attended. And a name came out the hat. So that builder will be joining us free of charge in Fiji in June this year. So looking forward to that as well.
It's quite a cool story. That it was a builder that actually signed up at IBS that won the giveaway.
That's right. Yeah. Brand new member. He must be thinking, well, if it's like this all the time.
Can you just give a brief overview of what that Fiji retreat is, Russ, for anyone that's wondering out there?
Yeah, so it's a very kind of exclusive, I guess you'd say, because it's a very small retreat. It's not, it's not for the masses, but I think there's just 20 building companies we capped it at this year. And we're going to a lovely island, which Sky very graciously checked out for us on a honeymoon. So it's where she went on a honeymoon last year. So we're going there. Beautiful water bungalows. It's just a lovely place. Fantastic service, apparently. But it's not all about relaxing. The builders are coming there to actually achieve something. So we have a 2-day workshop headed up by Andy Scarder. And once again, he's going to be accompanied by Rick for the 2 days. And they're going to be going deep into exit strategy and planning. And this is a topic that Rick has a lot of expertise on. He's written a book on it. And we're really excited to have him there sharing his knowledge. And, the effect it has on these builders, just huge. Some very, very big pivotal moments in last year's retreat in Hawaii, especially from people that had been to the one before in Hamilton Island and seen the progress made by a lot of guys. In particular, I've got to say, Ryan Stannard stood out, I think, head and shoulders to everyone in the group, what he achieved in a year, and then came back to the retreat in Hawaii and shared what he had achieved. And, to be fair, the reason he achieved that, he was working in the elite program, which has accelerated accountability. It's quite intensive. It's not for everyone, but, for builders that are determined to get to their goals quicker, then, it's ideal. And, that was certainly Ryan. And he shared with everyone last year the progress he made. And I think that was a wake-up call for a lot of guys. It was inspiring for everyone, and it just had a massive effect on the whole group. But I've got to say, those retreats are so cool because we have builders from the US, from Canada, Australia, and New Zealand all coming together, swapping war stories and talking about how it's different in their area and what they do. It's just a great time.
Yeah, those results are quite amazing that you hear come out of the year-on-year retreats, but also as well the friendships that those builders have created and the lifelong experience that comes out of that networking as well. I think is really powerful.
Yeah, and we see that develop, don't we? We see the friendships being built and then carrying on through the members only Facebook group as well. So it's fantastic to see because obviously these guys have got so much in common. It can be tough, this game, and not a lot of people understand what builders go through. So the best people to hang out with are other builders.
All right, before we make everyone too jealous, because this year's retreat is sold out. Back to IBS, you spoke a bit about meeting with partners while we were there. Can you talk through some of the examples of the partners that you met with that we're already working with?
Yeah, I mean, this year we were very fortunate. We had Builder Trend right opposite us, and we had Build Tools right to the side of us. So we were sandwiched in the middle with some great software providers there. And Builder Trend, they invited us on to actually do an interview on their stand and talk about the State of the Residential Construction Industry Report 2024. So that was good, being able to share that, the information in that report with their audience. They did what they call influencer drinks in the afternoon as well. So that was a great opportunity to kind of hang out with those guys on the stand. Build Tools, it was the same with those guys. They had a very large stand there, and they had a sound booth where they were doing podcast interviews. So I did a podcast interview with Bob Kane from Build Tools. We had House Pro, I think, just behind us, massive stand there. Yeah, again, very important, very big partner for us. There was Professional Builder and Custom Builder magazine came along. I think you had some good chats with those guys, Will. Contractor Staffing Source is another very important partner of APBs that have been doing recruitment services and providing staff to a lot of our members. Those guys were there, so it was good to catch up with Paul. Builder Lead Converter, saw Rick. Rick wasn't exhibiting, but he was speaking in the education centre. So, yeah, it was good to see Rick there. And Permit Flow was another partner that springs to mind. Saw those guys. So they're a relatively new partner, but they handle the permits for builders in the US. So yeah, it was great to see them there as well.
Yeah, in a similar way that you mentioned, putting a face to the name of the team that we've been catching up for the last 12 months or longer, meeting a lot of the partners that we've been collaborating with on the State of Residential Construction Industry report and, our rewards directory and all those kind of things. It really just strengthens the relationships there.
Oh, it does. It's one thing, especially we, obviously both of us are based in Australia. We have a lot of meetings. We do with a lot of guys, partners in the US. And it's one thing meeting on Zoom and even over the phone, but to meet in person, it takes that relationship to the next level. So it's incredibly important and really good as well to have those personal connections.
For members of APB out there or anyone that's thinking about joining, our rewards program is really an important part of membership because you get cash rebates every quarter into your bank account. What are some of the new rewards partners that you connected with while we're at IBS? And what were you looking out for, I guess?
Yeah, so obviously we're always looking to grow the rewards directory. It's been phenomenally successful. And since we launched it 18 months ago, a lot of that success, I think, can be attributed to IBS 2023 when we signed up a lot of new partners. But there's still gaps. And this year we went looking for more. I've been having some very good conversations with companies that specialize in legal services for builders. So a flat fee contract. So this is a legal company that will produce a building contract for a flat fee and then do amendments, and they'll do it in 5 days. So a lovely, simple offering there. So in discussion with them, recruitment companies as well, lots of software providers. Just what we need is more software providers. But to be fair, I think a lot of the software that came out years ago and has been incredibly successful, like Builder Trend, it can be a little overwhelming for some guys as well. And I think this is what some of the newer companies play on, that their offering is simple. It's more simplistic, and they're appealing to the builders that don't want all the bells and whistles. Obviously, it's simple because they've just started out and they're going to be adding features all the time, so they're going to go down that path anyway. But it can be more appealing, for a builder that maybe feels overwhelmed sometimes by some of the feature set on these other products. But that was a good one as well. Plan ranges as well. There was a few companies there that provide plan ranges, and we've always said this even to custom home builders. Although you're building custom homes, you still need a plan range because it's a starting point. Whenever you go and meet someone on site or they come to the office, they always want to look at plans. So they're not going to order and like build a plan, because that's not the market you're in, but they're going to use it for inspiration. So that was great. Be looking to bring a couple of those guys on board as partners as well. There was lots of finance companies there. There was an AI company which I was quite impressed with. They were very advanced, in some of their offerings, which are specifically for builders. So, we'll be connecting and following up with those guys. And of course, there was a 3D printing company there as well. So, a little glimpse of the future. They were selling the machines. So, if you've got a spare $600,000 in your account, go get yourself a 3D printer and sit at home and drink cocktails while the house is being built.
Sure. Yeah, and I think while you were out meeting a lot of those partners and going and seeing the exhibitors, Russ, so many were coming to the booth where I was and having conversations about potentially partnering with us. I mean, there's literally hundreds of opportunities there. So the work now starts for us to actually vet those partners and see which ones are going to be most valuable to our members.
Yeah, absolutely right. I couldn't even get off the stand on the first day because there were so many potential partners coming to see us. And my idea was I was going to go out and get them. But yeah, like you say, it was a huge amount of partners. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned you did a speaking session. You actually did two because the first one you had lined up got sold out. Andy Scarter, our head coach, also had a speaking session at the event, educational session. But can you tell me more about the experience you had speaking? You were co-presenting with Jim Schneider, one of our members.
Yeah, so I actually reached out to Jim. Yeah, we had Jim lined up to co-present this with me, and I reached out to him just before IBS. And as soon as I spoke to him, I knew this guy's going to be great. He was so comfortable and easy to talk to. But the session we did was on setting and managing client expectations. So rather than us just doing a slideshow and a presentation about this is what you want to do, it would be interesting to hear from a builder's perspective on what he had done and how that had changed his building company, the results he'd seen from it. And both sessions, they held about 500 people. We didn't fill them up, but I think we had, we must have been around 400 in the first one, about 350 in the second. So they were well attended. And the guys that attended, they lapped up what Jim had to say because, he shared with how they hadn't done things, maybe that great before, and then how they had implemented these different techniques and strategies and how it had transformed the relationship. And of course, there were certain things as well that Jim hasn't yet implemented. And I think that was really good for the builders in attendance to hear that as well, because I think when you join APB and you look at all the systems and processes that we have, it gets exciting and then it gets a little bit overwhelming and kind of daunting. And, you kind of think, well, where do I start? And some people might freeze. And that's why our MSCs, place so much importance on, guiding the builders to start on one thing and progress from there. But it's very easy to compare yourself to another builder and get a bit disheartened maybe because you don't have everything ticked off. So it was really good to hear Jim's honesty in the bits that he hadn't done. And yes, they were on the list, they were on the to-do, but it really demonstrated that you don't have to do everything in order to be successful. Success comes along the way. I mean, this is a journey, and it's Kaizen, it's never-ending improvement. So, we can't just flick a switch and suddenly have everything done. That probably will never happen. And that's exciting as well because, we just continue on this journey and we get better. And Jim shared what he'd done, where he's at right now, and what he's going to implement in the future. And I think that was very inspiring for builders. I mean, I had builders come up to me afterwards and just say thank you for having the builder there sharing it, because I think it means so much more hearing it from a builder than like a consultant, really. That it's easy to say what you should do, but hearing from someone that's actually done it, that's what really counts.
Yeah, I found that really inspiring as well. I came and watched one of the sessions and I actually interviewed Jim back on the podcast in June, episode 86, if anyone wants to listen to Jim's story. He shares a lot of the stuff he spoke about in the presentation, but it was almost like the progression again from 6 months later on what he'd achieved and what he'd moved forward as well. So I found that really intriguing to see and great to meet him in person as well.
Yeah, well, and what a lovely guy as well. Yeah, great builder. And he brought his team out as there, which was fantastic to meet those guys.
Yeah, definitely. What were your highlights from the show then, Russ? You've probably mentioned most of them already, but dive into some specifics.
Yeah, look, I think it was meeting members because, I know you see these names in HubSpot, which is the CRM we use. And obviously I don't get speaking to these guys. They're dealing with the MSCs or the coaches. So being able to speak to the members, face to face, hear their stories. I love listening to the podcast episodes where you interview builders, Will, and they talk about what they've implemented, and it just pumps me up so much hearing the action plans that they've implemented into their business and the changes it's made. But I guess also the partners as well. That was a big highlight for me. Loved meeting the partners that have come on board, especially the guys at Builder Trend. I've got to give those guys a big shout out. I got meeting Zach in person. Zach is one of the co-hosts of The Building Code, which is another great podcast that I think builders really should subscribe and listen to. Maybe we can even put a link in the show notes to that podcast. Well, big shout out to Danielle as well at Builder Trend, a lovely lady. Courtney, Brooke, Ryan from CB USA, and of course, saw Dan, the man himself from Builder Trend. Yeah, he was there as usual. But all great people at Builder Trend, and that only comes from having a great company culture. And that's something we really spend a lot of time coaching our builders on how they can create this great company culture. And it's great to see it in a business like Builder Trend, and the people that they've attracted and retained there. But also ECI, the guys beside us. Highlight was chatting to Bob Kane there, doing an interview for the podcast. Again, great bunch of guys over at ECI as well. So it was good to see those guys again.
Definitely had some friendly neighbours, didn't we, in the exhibitor hall?
We did. Yeah, you got to love Americans. They're so friendly, aren't they?
You saying that Australians aren't, or?
Maybe we got burnt in the early days. I mean, Australians, they were quite brutal to us in the early days when we were saying you should be on 10% net profit.
That's it. But yeah, no, they are very welcoming. I think there is a certain pessimism about the Australian culture. It's probably the best way to put it.
No, everyone loves Aussies. Doesn't matter where you go in the world, everyone loves Aussies.
Well, yeah, I think the accent certainly helps to get people's attention initially while we're over there.
It was funny, actually. After I finished the first presentation, there was a guy that came up to me, Australian guy, and he said, "You're not from Brisbane, are you?" And I said, No. The UK said, "I thought so," because he was actually a project manager. He was working in Salt Lake City, and he was sitting there with these other Americans, and they were saying, "Hey, it came up with like where our head office must have come up with something on the description. Hey, he's from Australia." And he said, "No, I don't think he's from Australia." And they said, "Yeah." And then it came up with Queensland. And like, "Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about." So he was even second guessing himself, and he came out like, "You're not from Brisbane, are you?"
Yeah, I think it's a bit confusing because the accents are quite similar if you're not familiar with them.
Yeah.
Okay, so IBS is obviously a massive show and a huge undertaking for us with, any number of benefits that you've discussed today, Russ. But for builders out there that maybe aren't attending IBS next year or they're still thinking about it, what are the benefits attending trade shows in general?
Well, it's tax deductible for starters, so that's always nice, especially when they hold them in places like Vegas. But yeah, apart from that, it's great for building team spirit. Because like I mentioned, Jim Schneider, he took two project managers along. His interior design lady came along as well, and that's just great. They did not an Airbnb, but it was one of those equivalents. So they had a big house. So that is great for building team spirit, and that was the same, obviously with us as well. It was great for us to build our own team spirit, but I see that a lot at these big expos. The builders do bring a few of their key people along. They get out of the office. They don't all walk around the expo together because, different people get different things, but, they obviously meet up of the night and have a debrief. And I think that really helps build culture in a company. So that is a massive benefit because, by investing in your people, you're going to help them to grow. I think it was Richard Branson, wasn't it, that said, you've got to train people well enough that they could leave and work anywhere, but then treat them well enough that they never want to. And I think, going along to trade shows, it's not the be all and end all, but it's a very big component of that.
Yeah, it's a great point. And obviously leads is another reason to go to trade shows.
Well, it is, yeah, it is for us, yeah.
I was thinking, Yeah, no, for builders as well, we've got the action plan, marketing at
Of course,
exhibitions and
yeah,
events
yeah,
that we
look,
released in
yeah.
January.
IBS is obviously an expo that builders attend, for their own benefit, looking suppliers. But of course, you've got to look at other shows, and there's a phenomenal amount of opportunity in these exhibitions for builders to exhibit and gather their own leads. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, those leads are a lot warmer because they will have met you.
Yeah, we've that action plan I mentioned, we just released in January, so it's brand new and got all the latest tactics that we've actually learned a lot from attending IBS, I think, which builders could use a lot from.
Yeah, look, if you're considering doing an exhibition, make sure you go through that action plan first because, that will save you a fortune.
Yep. So are we going back next year, Russ?
The booth or the stand is already booked. The team have already had a big debrief and the plans are in motion for 2025. So the answer is absolutely. Yeah, from the moment that final whistle went, the final bell went 5 o'clock on Thursday for day 3, I just could not wait to get back. It's hard not to keep thinking about it. We've been talking about how we're gonna do it better next year. So we're all pumped and can't wait to get back next year.
Better start working up some credit with my partner then. So I can go back to Vegas. Well, Russ, thanks so much for coming on Professional Builders Secrets today. What's the best next thing that builders should do if they're interested to learn more about what we do here at APB?
Look, you can Google Association of Professional Builders and jump on our website because there is a plethora of information on there. Obviously, subscribing to this podcast would be a good next step as well while you're here. So hit that subscribe button. But go to the website and check out the free resources. Check out the rewards partner directory as well, because scaling up a building company or even if you find yourself under pressure for time, you need to add more resources. And we've got the fully vetted recommended resources in that directory. So that's a good thing to check out. Of course, we hold webinars, live webinars, a couple of times a month there. There is a ton of resources on that website for residential home builders to check out.
Perfect. And obviously the State of Residential Construction Industry Report has just been released when this episode goes live, which you mentioned we partnered with Builder Trend and House Pro and Build Tools to generate.
Yeah, so we'll put a link to that in the show notes as well, so that if you're interested in comparing your building company to the industry benchmarks to see where there may be room for improvement and where you are outperforming the industry, make sure you download that report.
Awesome. Well, Russ, thanks so much for coming on the show today. Thank you for taking me to Vegas and having an amazing team experience with APB, but I appreciate you coming on and sharing some insights today.
Thanks so much, Will.
Also, a big thank you to our listeners wherever you are in the world. If you like the show today, please subscribe to Professional Builders Secrets on your platform of choice. And if you're feeling generous, leave us a review. But until next time, have a great day.